Hi guys, hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to another teardown video. This video I'm going to tear down one of these Xbox iToys. So these are the things you plug into your Xbox and you can interact with its camera to play certain games. Usually games that are kind of fitness orientated but fun to play as well. It's actually quite a heavy unit. And one that doesn't look very easy to take apart, I have to say, because it is really solid and there's no screw holes, and it may take a bit of brute force to get this taken apart. Okay, so we'll see how we go. It does have a long power lead on it, in fact really long. Yeah, it's got a bit of a unique little plug on the end as well in there. Maybe some gold pins in there, gold plated pins. We can look at later. So with these things, as I say, sometimes it can be actually quite difficult to get apart. So we'll see how we go. We'll see if we can wedge the edges out. And see if we can get to what's inside. I'm hoping for a nice big power board in here. Maybe a little bit of a couple of aluminium heat sinks. Maybe a small transformer. Not expecting too much. Usually with cameras there's a little bit of gold plate inside the camera internals, but again we'll find out when we get into it. Okay, if we get into it. Okay, we'll give it a bash. So we'll see how we go. So let's a bit of a better angle. Okay, doke. So we'll try first of all wedging off one of the sides here. Okay, that is a little piece of metal in there on the underside of the plastic. Not sure if that's aluminium or steel, but we'll put that to one side and we'll test that in a bit. So we'll do the same on the other side. Yeah, that bit out as well. Put them to one side at the moment. So that's the edges off. Hopefully that makes it easier to wedge out the other pieces. It may not. We shall see. It does look like it's clipped in quite tightly. So we'll see if we can get to something that we can actually start unclipping it somewhere. One thing I would say for these is, look, obviously very well made in terms of how sturdy they are, because it's not immediately easy to separate this kind of front plate from the unit, and I think that's probably because there's screws in there keeping it on. The only question is, so there's one side, one the other side here. So actually let's see if we can get those screws out, because that may make quite a bit of a difference. If we can find the correct bit. It looks not too bad. So just getting the correct screwdriver bit. Okay, we'll extend it a little bit. The screwdriver. Hopefully that will allow us to get into the screw unabated. The bit's spinning a little bit, so actually I think I need a different size bit. Maybe the one that's just one step up, one bit bigger. Okay. So this is the 8H bit, and that fits it perfectly well. Will allow us to get this first screw out. And then do the same on the other side. I'm hoping it's only these two screws that are holding it together. We'll soon find out. It would be amazing if it was, but it's more than likely not going to be. Okay, well, we've got some movement in terms of that plate. That's good. There we go, lovely. Okay, so there's a front plate off. Again, it does have a little metal plate on the back. And again, we will test that and see if that's aluminium. If so, we'll just pull it out. Well, we'll pull it out if it's steel or aluminium, to be honest with you. We'll do both, as we don't leave any metal. Okay, what we'll try and do now, as you can see, we've now got that kind of main front plate off. You can see the cameras, and there is a big board that's sitting behind this. We'll try and wedge off this top piece first. Let's see if we can get into that. There is a bit at the back here, you can see going along it, so it does break along the back. Might not do it so easily. We'll see if we can get into it and pull it out. Might be we can come in from the back of it. That's what we call failure, so we'll try something else. What I'm trying to do here is just get a little bit space that I can maybe wedge in behind it, and then try and push it out. That doesn't look like that's going to work either. Let's see what we can do from the bottom. Crikey, they don't make this easy to get into, guys. That is for sure. Try to find the best way in. Still think it's trying to get this bit off the top, but it's hard to get in behind. Just a bit of plastic. So I can see that there is a board on top here, and it is connecting to the main unit itself, but I'm not sure how on earth I'm going to get this back plate off, because it all seems to be attached. Maybe we can get in behind the stand, and we break the stand off and get in that way. Okay, so we've got the stand off. That shows us now a couple of screws. Hopefully the same bit will fit it. It does. And again, use your rule. See a screw, unscrew it. And you're not trying to wedge stuff off that can actually just be easily unscrewed. And maybe we'll get to some of these screws on the top element as well. Okay, that's part of the hinge. We'll get this other part of the hinge off that connects the stand to the main unit. Really what I want to do is just show you guys kind of the main setup inside here. See if there's any interesting metals. If there's anything else that can be just pulled off. A tiny little board, but there's nothing really on that other than a little, possibly a little light. No value in that. Okay, let's see now if we can, as you can see at the top here, we'll have exposed some screws. So we will unscrew what we can. I think there will be screws at the other side of this as well that I won't be able to get to as of yet. But again, we can unscrew the ones we have access to. That may open up other avenues to take other pieces apart. We shall see. Okay, one more I can get to here. Okay, now we need to figure out how to get to this back plate. I'm just going to snip the wire off so we can move that out of the way, make it easier, a little bit easier to handle. So it's this bottom plate that's really stuck on. That's the key to taking this apart, I think, is getting this bottom plate off. There is stickers here, so it might be we can take off the stickers and we'll see if it reveals anything in terms of any screws. Or if the sticker's just there to make it look nicer. So there's the answer. Okay, taking the sticker off, as you can see, there is screws. Okay, I imagine it's going to be the same on that side, so let's do that one as well. It's always worth checking. I actually thought that was just a shiny part of the plastic, but it isn't. It is an actual sticker, clearly covering the visible screws, the non-visible screws. Okay, that wasn't the most successful one there, but it's definitely screws in here as well. And we should be able just to push through on them. We can reduce our screwdriver back down now, we don't need it extended. And we can start undoing these screws on the back, and that should then allow us to separate the unit and actually get to the board. Anyone that scraps electronics out will know a lot of this stuff is kind of trial and error. You just got to find a way in, so to speak. It's not always immediately apparent on the best way to take something apart. You just need to persist. These screws, I'm not sure you're going to be able to see the screw head there. Have a look. So it is a hex screw head, but you can see right in the middle of it has a little piece of metal right in the middle, and you need a very specific bit for that. Yeah, a normal kind of hex screwdriver won't take that off, so you need a bit that actually has a little hole in the middle. See if you can see that, and get a focus on my finger so you can see. No, because that just looks like a normal hex bit. There is a little hole in the middle. See if we can see a bigger one, maybe it'll focus on better. See that one? Yeah. So that's just a bigger version, yeah, but it has the hole in the middle. Allows you to take those screws off. So that's what I've got in here, it's just a smaller one to take out the smaller screws. So to take these things apart, to do the micro scrapping, to scrap small electronics, you do need these little screwdriver sets. And the screwdriver sets that you buy are specifically for taking things apart, like mobile phones or tablets, that kind of thing. Okay, but if you don't have one and you try to take stuff apart, then 9 times out of 10 to get things like this apart, you'll just be smashing it with a hammer. So if that's your preferred method, happy days. If not, get yourself a wee screwdriver set. Okay, plastic is now off. Reveals what? Yep, yet again, more screws. Okay, allows us to take the other piece of plastic off, and again, there's a bit of metal to that. You find things like that as well on laptops. Yeah, so you do get that on laptops. The metal on the plastic. Again, we will check that. At the moment, we just want to get into this main unit, yeah. Okay, so let's get these screws out. We'll release that top metal plate, and then that should actually show us if there's any goodies in here, or if we've just wasted our time. So as you can see in my videos, I do a lot of kind of teardown videos, and it is really just trying to show you guys that are scrapping electronics out there if there's any value in taking certain items apart. I find doing scrapping that you come across very similar items all the time. You come across things like microwaves and TVs and hair dryers and toasters and all that kind of thing, yeah. The rarer things you come across, it's good to tear down, do a quick video to, again, hopefully, if there's no value in it, then saving someone some time. But I scrap all the metals, so there's always some value, even if it's just a little bit. What I don't want to see is stuff going to landfill, so we separate the metals from the plastic, and we recycle both. We recycle the plastic and we recycle the metals. So just being a little bit responsible, making sure we are doing our little bit where we can for the environment, and making sure that we're not sending things to landfill that can be recycled. Okay, there's a plastic back that does contain the little plug element to it as well. Put that to one side at the moment. Hopefully now we'll be able to take off this metal plate. There we go. It's a metal plate. Does feel like steel. If so, it'd be nice if it's stainless, but we will check with the magneto. So I'm just now releasing the board from the main unit itself. So I can already see on the back of the board here, there's some small MLCCs. Let's take the fan out. Okay, a little motor in the centre of the fan, little DC motor. Couple of screws to go. Okay, now we can pull off the board. Okay, there's our board. Not a lot on there. Little copper bearing unit here. What else is there? Not a lot. MLCCs is about the size of it. There's a little gold plated pins element there, but really difficult to get them off. I wouldn't even bother about them. There is a little bit of blue tack there, or plasticine or whatever you want to call it, covering a little IC chip. But really, no value in that board, I would say, almost no value whatsoever. Okay, there will be a couple of little pins in here, and they are gold plated pins, so you can definitely extract them. Apart from that, it's a pretty worthless board. Okay, so is there anything else contained here that we've got any value from? Take off the hard plastic outer shell, and we're left with this piece. Okay, this looks like aluminium, sounds like aluminium, feels like aluminium, and there's a kind of board here underneath these metal bits, and there's a board running under here that the camera elements are attached to. So we'll take them off. That should leave us with a little chunk of aluminium. For this one we need a very small bit. See if we've got one that fits right away. Yes, we do. Okay, so just change around the bit and take off the camera elements from the metal back plate. So you know what, even if I get a bit of a chunky aluminium out of this, then to me it's worth taking apart. Okay, it's broken, can't be used. I don't have the technical know-how on how to fix it. There was nothing I could see in terms of loose wires or anything like that that would indicate it was an easy fix. So I never fixed it, just take it apart. Okay, so there's the camera itself. It's got a little aluminium back plate on that as well. I'll wedge that off in a minute once I get these other screws out. You would find that, or you would think, with a simple unit like this, that it would be nice and easy to take apart, it wouldn't be many screws, but it can be surprising. I do find things like cameras, you know, both video cameras and instant kind of cameras, they have lots and lots of little tiny screws, and they can be quite time consuming to take apart. So it's fine if you've got the time. Yep. Took my drill bit with the screw. And my screwdriver bit, because I'm not using a drill. Okay, 2 screws left. In fact, 4 screws left because there's 2 at the top as well. Even with these little screwdriver bits as well, you can stick them in a drill and make it a lot easier to unscrew them. Sometimes you do that with these little screws though, you can round the screw quite quickly, and then it's a lot more difficult to get them off. But these haven't been too bad. Okay, so that's all the visible screws. Pull off the camera. Again, it has that little kind of bit of blue tacky plasticine sitting underneath it, and that's just used as a noise suppressant, I think. Kind of a little dampener. Okay, got a metal plate on the bottom of that as well. That one looked like more of a steel plate than an aluminium one. And we'll pull off the main board. Okay. Again, we'll remove the little bits of blue tack, plasticine, and that is our main aluminium chunk. It's a fair bit, and it's not actually that light for aluminium, so let's test it in terms of how, if it's magnet or not, if it attracts to the magnet or not. So I've just got a couple of little magnets I get out of various stuff. Little neodymium magnets, these ones. Just to tap it against. And that's not been attracted anywhere. Oh, apart from this piece here. And that piece on the end there. So there's a couple of pieces of steel, just these bits on the end. Nowhere else. So we're going to have to try and get them out. Let's see how easy that will be. Not so easy. Maybe that will have to break that piece off. Could try sticking the screwdriver and see if I can wedge it out. I don't want to break the screwdriver though. It is moving. So if I can get through this piece, I can get that edge bit out. There we go. There's one bit of steel out of our aluminium. We don't want to contaminate our aluminium. Try and get this other piece out. Cut off a little bit of aluminium there, but a tiny wee bit. Get out our second piece. And then this just leaves this one here, which certainly looks more difficult to get to. Let's see if we can do anything with the screwdriver on it. I can wedge it loose. Nope. But what I did do was break my end, which I feared I would do. But that's fine, because this is a really old set anyway, and I don't really use it much. But I wouldn't have minded it breaking if I actually got the piece out, but I didn't. So let's try again. There we go. Got it out that time. Okay, so that now is free of contamination in terms of steel, and we've got a nice little chunk of aluminium. Okay, this was the plate that surrounded it. As you can see, sticks to our magnet. So that is steel. Our piece is attached to the plastic. Is also magnetic, so that is also steel. Or pieces that are on the side stuck to the plastic, also steel. And there's two of them, second one. And then we've got our little unit here, and these bits too are steel. Okay, stick to our magnet as well. Okay, but what I can do here is I can wedge these pieces off and just see what's in here, what's underneath. probably some IC chips. What usually is under here. There's the metal off that piece. Very small IC chip. A couple of other wee tiny ones in there. Nothing of value for me. Get this other piece wedged off. Okay, again, just a bit of steel there. And under this one, it looks like it's just capacitors. Aluminium capacitors, which I do nothing with. You could probably sell them as dirty aluminium. Inside these, the outer shell is aluminium, and inside of them is a little roll of aluminium as well. But taking them apart would just take forever, and they're so light you would need thousands of them to actually be worth anything. And even that would be not a lot. So don't bother with them at all. And they just get bunged in with our waste metal. And you say, waste metal? What do you mean waste metal? Well, my scrapyard doesn't take certain things, and I still come across them, so I do keep all that kind of waste metal and I stick it through our local recycling centre, and they obviously take all that kind of stuff. So as an example, my scrapyard doesn't take microwaves, and you'll see that in one of my videos. I take a trip to the scrapyard. The guy tells me not to bring him microwaves, so I just strip the microwaves down, right down to the core, take all the components off them, obviously the magnetron and the transformers and the boards and all the other stuff that's there, and then I just take the core round to my local recycling centre, who don't reject it. So can't make any money for that metal, unfortunately, because they don't want it at the scrapyard, but that's fine. Can't have everything. Okay, I'm just trying to get this piece off here, this piece. See if there's anything underneath it. Doesn't look like a lot, to be honest. It's even worth my time. Try to take it apart. You know what? I'm actually going to take a call to say it's probably not worth my time. And actually, the question is, taking it apart, what have we got from it? Well, really, we've got a chunk of aluminium, yeah, and you've got some small pieces of steel. You just flatten out to take less space up. Apart from that, guys, really nothing. Okay, I mean, the boards, there's a couple of small capacitors and things like that on them, but there's nothing of significance here. So, you know, some you win, some you lose, and unfortunately that wasn't the greatest in terms of what we got out of it, but we'll stick a little chunk of aluminium in our aluminium pile, so better something than nothing. And we did get something, okay, so be grateful for what you get. Okay, so thank you for watching that one, guys. That was the teardown of the Xbox iToy. Not the easiest teardown in the world, but fun to see what's inside. Hope you enjoyed that one. If you did, please hit that subscribe button, and I will see you on the next teardown. You've been watching Scrapping Scotland. Bye for now.